Grow Data Navigation is a business intelligence platform that frees the insights you need to fuel growth and transform your business. Today, we're going to show you how Grow works. There are four main parts of Grow. The first is to connect your data. Second, we're going to build a data set. The data set is where you apply transforms and manipulate your data, and then save that logic for future use. We're also going to show you how to build metrics and dashboards, and lastly, how to share those metrics and dashboards with your team. Let's get started. When you log into Grow, you will land on the last dashboard you viewed. For us, that's the KPI dashboard. Our KPI dashboard tracks against our company's three key initiatives for the year. The first, diversify product revenue. The second, to build customer trust. And third, to launch a stealth product. We have 9 metrics we're using to track against these initiatives to give us a holistic understanding of how we are performing as a business. In this top right-hand corner, we can move into full screen mode, also known as TV mode, and see the dashboard in a dark mode. We can also see the underlying data source that is fueling these metrics. In this dashboard alone, we're connected to over 7 data sources. We can also blend data sources in one metric. For example, here we're pulling in our new sales data from Salesforce and using Google Sheets for a target or forecast to track against. On this left-hand side, under the caret, you can view all of the dashboards in your account, as well as your favorite dashboards, which will be shown up top. Let's go ahead and check out our sales leaderboard. Our sales leaderboard showcases another view of metrics called the tile view. Here we can see just the trend of the data, rather than the y-axis and all the values that we would see in the full expanded mode. We can also see the key values, which are the most important numbers we want to look at. In the top right-hand corner of the metric, we can also expand it to see the full graph and the axes and the dates. We can hover over to see those labels for individual data points as well. We can also switch between metrics in the full expanded view to navigate between each metric on the dashboard. Let's click out. In Grow, there are 2 main tabs, the Dashboard tab, which we've just gone through, and the Data tab. Under the Data tab, you have Connections and Datasets. We can see in this account, we are connected to Google Sheets, HubSpot, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, 2 separate databases, MySQL and Postgres, as well as Salesforce, LinkedIn, and Google Analytics. On this page, we can see all the connections, who the owner is, the created date, datasets and metrics being fueled by this connector. We can also see only my connections, and we can look for broken connections. Awesome, there's no broken connections in this account. That's great. Now we can go ahead and say connect, and we can see all the different connections that Grow has. You can also search for a connection and connect directly here. Simply click on the connection, it'll bring you to this page. Now let's look at Datasets under the Data tab. As I mentioned before, datasets allow you to prep and clean your data and save it for future use. For example, we have 14 metrics and 5 dashboards fueled off this dataset, which is coming from Salesforce. That also allows you to prep and clean the data, so you can have a non-technical user come into Grow and use that data to answer their questions to find the insights that they're interested in. Awesome. Let's go ahead and build a metric from a dataset in this account. We have a dataset saved from Google Analytics. It looks at sessions and users by day. Let's search for sessions. Awesome. We have 2. We have website sessions by country and website sessions and users. Let's use this dataset. When you click into a dataset, it will bring you to a summary page where you can see all the information about that dataset. A description, the created date, who was created by, when it was last updated, the refresh rate, and what connections are fueling this dataset. Let's go ahead and say create metric. When we press create metric, it will bring us to the metric builder. Within the metric builder, we have the chart tab and the data tab. Let's stay on the chart tab for now. With 2 clicks, we can have a simple chart in Grow. Let's say we want to add value, and then we're going to select column A. Grow automatically knows to group by the first date column it recognizes. So right here, we're looking at sessions by day. Let's go ahead and change the grouping to be sessions by month. Here we can see we're looking at sessions from January 2019 through the current month. Let's go ahead and say that we only want to see sessions for the last 6 months. We can change the date range right here and say last 6, and the chart will update accordingly. Let's go ahead and change the color. Within this color, you can have your palette that you've set in your account to your custom colors. Let's choose purple. Awesome. Let's go ahead and give this metric a name. Website sessions by month. Now in the top right-hand corner, we're going to save the metric. It's going to ask us which dashboard we'd like to save it to. Let's save it to our initial dashboard. Awesome. When we save the metric to the dashboard, it automatically saves in the tile mode that I mentioned previously. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can expand the metric to different sizes. Great. Now in this top right corner, we also have dashboard filters. In the metric builder, we group the chart by month and set the date range to be the last 6 months. Now, what if I want to see it grouped by week? We can change that on the dashboard and do some ad hoc analysis. I also said give me the last 6 months, but let's say I'm interested in maybe just the last 60 days. I can pick that. There we go. So now our metric is looking at sessions week over week for the last 60 days. By removing these filters, the metric reverts back to its original state, last 6 months, months over months. That's dashboard filtering. Now let me show you how to build a data set. Before I jumped on this call, Brandon, our demand director, asked me to look at leads where the original source in HubSpot is paid. He wants to see how those leads are progressing through the funnel by lifecycle stage. Because I want to use this analysis again in the future, I'm going to show you how to build a data set, which can be reused again and again. So let's go ahead and say we're going to add new in this top right hand corner, and let's say data set. When we create a data set, it brings us to this tab. It asks us which connection we want to build from. As I said, Brandon wants to see lead performance from HubSpot, so let's pick HubSpot. Now in our account, we have 2 different connections to HubSpot. We're going to go ahead and change that off to be the general HubSpot account. So Grow can connect to the HubSpot CRM and the Analytics API. For now, let's just keep it on CRM. We're going to select the report. Brandon specifically asked me to use the inbound leads list that he's created for this analysis. Let's go ahead and choose that list of contacts in this list. It's called inbound leads. Now we need to choose the contact properties that we need for this analysis. Grow can connect to native contact properties from HubSpot as well as custom. Let's go ahead and choose the properties we want to use. First, I'm going to use the name of the contact. So I'm going to choose first name and last name. I'm also going to choose the company name. Now, Brandon wants me to use the original source, and he wants me to look at the lifecycle stage. Now, in HubSpot, you can see the current lifecycle stage, but it also has fields that automatically timestamp when the lead progresses. So, for example, I can see when a lead becomes a lead, when it became a marketing qualified lead, when it became a sales qualified lead, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and search for those fields. Awesome. So I simply searched the word became, and I'm going to pick when it became a subscriber, when it became MQL, when it became a sales qualified lead, when it became a customer. I'm going to pick all those fields. Cool. Now I'm going to say get data. So the data pulls back, and great, it's all here. So in this report, we can click this little caret, and we can see that there's almost 5,000 rows that came back. Let's add a label to the report. Let's say HubSpot leads, click save, great. Now this report looks great, but I want to clean it up a little bit. On this left-hand side, we have our transform pipeline. We have over 10 transforms that don't require SQL for you to use. We also have a SQL transform that you can use if you wish. Now to first clean up this data set, let's pick the relevant columns we want to use. We're going to select first name of the contact, this analytics source, which is also the original source. Choose the company name, current lifecycle stage, last time, last name, this ID, which is the contact ID, as well as each of these columns that stamp when they became a lead, an MQL, SQL, and so on. Now we're going to go ahead and say run. So we've selected the columns we want to use. I've excluded the ones that are not relevant to this analysis. Now, Brandon specifically said he wants to only see this analysis for leads that came through paid social and paid search. We're going to go ahead and add a transform and say filter. We're going to filter on this analytics source column right here. Go ahead and choose that column. I'm going to say the operator is one of, and this will show us all the options to choose. So Brandon said paid search and paid social. Let me find those. Cool. Let's go ahead and run this. And this is only going to return the data that matches these operators right here. And in this caret, we can now see we're down to about 1,000 compared to about 5,000 before. Awesome. Brennan also asked for this analysis to give him the average time it takes for a lead to become an opportunity. We can do this with transforms. We're going to head and go and add a calculated column, and we're going to say lead opportunity days. So we want to know the days between when it became an opportunity and when it became a lead. We can go ahead and simply subtract these two columns from each other and say run. We've now created a column that will fill in the time difference between became an opportunity and became a lead. For this row right here, we can see this became a lead on 12/17/2018 and became an opportunity 108 days later. Now we want to know of these that became an opportunity, what was the average time? So let's go ahead and take the average of this column using this transform. Let's take the average of that calculated column. We just ran. And if we scroll over, we can see the average is 151 days. Great. We'll use that in a metric that we're going to build from this data set later. So now we just need to write some SQL to clean up this data set and get it ready to use. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to use a SQL query I prepared ahead of time to clean it up. The SQL transform allows you to write PostgreSQL, so you can quickly apply any logic for some advanced analysis in Grow. Now we prepped this data set and we want to go ahead and save it. So let's enter a title. Let's call this Paid Leads Lifecycle Stages, and we'll go ahead and press save. Great. So this throws us back to the Datasets page. Now let's go ahead and search for that data set we just created. Yep, there's our data set. We see it's coming from HubSpot. Paid leaves, yep, looks great. Now we want to create a metric. This will put us back into the builder and the data will populate accordingly. Now let's start simple and say I want to see the count of contacts that are becoming a lead each month. So let's go ahead and we're going to add became a lead date, and then we're going to say give me the count of the contact names. That looks great. Now let's go ahead and group this by month. So we can see right here in this column that this is the count of the null values. Let's go ahead and filter this out, which we can do directly on the metric. We can say lead date is not blank. Awesome, now our chart looks a lot more proportional. Okay, now we're seeing how many became leads month over month. Now let's see the difference in performance between paid search and paid social. Which one is driving more leads? We can go ahead and we're going to slice on the original source column. It'll show us a column chart side by side of paid search versus paid social. And there's a lot going on in this chart, so let's change the chart type to be a stacked column to easily digest. Looks better. Okay, now this data is stacked and it looks from a first glance, looks pretty good. Looks like the paid social and paid search are performing pretty evenly. You could say that there's a 50-50 split each month. But this is nice for me to know, but it's not exactly what Brandon asked for. He wants to know, kind of like a cohort analysis, that based off of when a lead became a lead, what is their current life cycle stage? Did they become a customer? Did they become an opportunity? Are they a qualified lead? So instead of slicing on original source, let's slice on life cycle stage. It looks even better. So in our previous view, we were looking at where these leads were coming from. Now we're looking at how far they've made it into the funnel. If we look at the chart, we see that of the leads created in December 2019, 8 are marketing qualified, an additional 2 leads have progressed to opportunities, and 5 are subscribers in our nurture sequences. In October 2019, of the leads that converted, 2 became customers. It looks like this month, of the leads that converted, 1 is qualified, and 5 became customers. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and let me show you how to format the chart. Let's choose different colors for the slices. Now these are branded colors. Grow also has this set of preset colors that you can use, or you can use a hex code to select an exact color as well. Now let's help Brandon out and give us the total number of leads month over month at the top of each of these bars. Under settings, we can select and say display totals. That'll add a number at the top. Cool. Now I can see easily the total number of leads created each month. Also, Brandon was most interested in knowing the average time that it took a lead to become an opportunity. If you can remember in our data set, we calculated that right here. So let's go ahead and add a key value. The key value is the first number that you're going to look at when you see a metric, and it's the most important number to your audience. Let's go ahead and choose that column that we want to make the key value off of. Great. So right now, it's looking at the full date range. It's taking a sum of all of these. Let's say I just wanted to look at the current day. I can set this key value to only be current day, choose that, and that should work. Now let's save this metric. We're going to enter the title of paid leads by conversion, date, and current lifecycle stage. Let's click save, and it'll ask us which dashboard we want to save it to. It saves the dashboard. Let's move it and expand it how we want it to appear. Awesome. So this is exactly what Brandon asked me for. He can log into the app, or I could just post it to his Slack channel so he doesn't have to log in and he can see it whenever he needs. In this top right-hand corner, we can choose Slack, and then we can either post now or schedule a recurring post. An example of a recurring post would be send this updated metric every Monday morning at 9 a.m. to a specific Slack channel. But for now, I just want to post it to the inbound channel. The Slack instance, I'll pick the inbound channel and say, hi, and click send now. Slack is a great way to share metrics in Grow. Another way is the share icon on the dashboard in the top right-hand corner. Here you can generate a share URL, which you can give to anyone, and they don't have to be logged into Grow, and they can still see all of the insights you've created for them. You can copy this link and paste it in any browser to view the dashboard. This is the dashboard they would see if you sent them a share URL. The second option is to generate a PDF report. Let's click Add New Report, and we're going to say we want to email the report out. It's going to ask us which dashboard we want to send. Let's send this one. It'll say, do we want daily, weekly, or monthly? I say daily at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then it'll ask you what emails you want to send it to. Let's enter some emails. Go ahead and press save. Looking great. In this demo, we went over how to connect your data, how to build a data set, how to build a metric, and lastly, how to share that metric or dashboard with people outside of Grow. If you have any questions, please go to grow.com and request the trial. Thanks for watching.